Hi everybody, I hope you're doing well and have had a good week. The video today is going to be about some of the most common rules that are found in a dysfunctional family home. Now these rules are something that a child learns from a very young age. These are constantly mirrored to them from their mum or their dad. These are the messages that they constantly hear, which eventually leads them to grow up and only know these rules as being what is supposed to be healthy. So I'm going to go through the rules. I have about, let me just check. I have about 9. There's probably a couple more, but these are the ones that I think are the most important. I've just written a list here in a Word document, so I'm just going to go through them. So the first one that is very common in a dysfunctional family home, which states, change reality to make things look respectable. And this brings up the subject of gaslighting. So for instance, as a child, you might have seen something that wasn't very nice or wasn't considered respectable, like your father might have fallen down the stairs because he'd had too much to drink. And the mother will say, well, actually, no, that didn't really happen. You must have made a mistake. And will tell you, that's not how it happened. That's not what you saw. And also, it's not something that you want to talk about with anybody, because if you do, then they will think you're crazy or they will not like you anymore. So change in reality is something that narcissists do a lot. They like gaslighting. They like making you think that things were not as you think they were, because this protects their image to the outside world. So reality is constantly changed in a dysfunctional home where one or both parents are narcissistic. Now, rule number 2 is that you always keep the family secrets. Now, this is also where this gaslighting comes in. Gaslighting is in a way to control you, so you don't talk about things that you may have seen in the home, that you may have seen your parents do. And that is because they always want to keep the family secrets. So a child is taught from a young age that they have to protect the family image and that they always have to talk about their parents in a positive, respectable way. So you always have to watch what you say and be very careful not to talk about the things that mummy and daddy might have got up to. And you're taught that if you stay quiet, that if you're loyal and that you keep mummy and daddy's secrets, then you will get a reward for that. But if you do go out and tell somebody what mummy and daddy might have said or done, then mummy and daddy are not going to love you anymore. So that is how they control the child into always keeping their mouth shut, essentially. That is what parents always do in a dysfunctional home. Now, rule number 3 in a dysfunctional home where parents are narcissistic is that a child has to always act and be like an adult. Now, this is completely unreasonable. How can a child act and be like an adult? They are a child. Children are children. You can't expect a child to be an adult. They're not supposed to be. They're supposed to be carefree and they're supposed to have fun. They're supposed to, have a tantrum 1 minute and then be really happy the next. Children are children. And in a dysfunctional home, children sometimes are parentified. The adult might have so many immature needs that they will end up making the child look after those needs. So, for instance, a child might be made to take care of the parent's emotional needs when the parent is having a meltdown about something that daddy did to mummy or the other way round. If a parent talks to the child about certain adult issues and expects the child to support them emotionally, then that's inappropriate. Another thing that might happen in this sort of scenario where they expect the child to be an adult is that they expect the child to do certain chores in the house for the mum or the dad. They expect their child to do the cleaning and take on responsibilities that are not really something that a child should do. And I'm not talking about giving a child pocket money by saying, well, if you wash the car with daddy, then this will earn you £10. You know, I'm not talking about that. There's always a way of teaching a child responsibility, of teaching them that in order to make money when you're older, you have to do certain things, and to do these certain things, this will earn you a little bit of pocket money. That's a different scenario. I'm talking about making a child overly responsible for the parent's needs. Generally, the message that children get from this is that their feelings are not important, that they always have to be stronger and bigger, and they always have to do what mommy and daddy want, that mommy's and daddy's needs are more important. If mommy is sad, then you have to make sure mommy is happy. Rule number 4 is basically one of the worst, in my opinion. This is what causes cognitive dissonance in a child, and they just don't understand what is going on. And rule number 4 is that parents always send mixed messages to their children, especially when it comes to relationships. So, for instance, a child might go to her mummy, and the mum might say to the child, "I love you, darling, but can you please just go away now? I'm busy. Don't bother me anymore." And the child will think, well, okay, mummy just said she loved me, but why did she just tell me to go away? That's a small example, but I'm talking about things that might be, for instance, more constant, more frequent. So, you know, the child might go to the daddy and bring the daddy his cup of coffee, and constantly trying to get daddy's approval, daddy's attention, daddy's love. And the child is sort of standing in front of the TV while daddy's watching his football game, and daddy says, "Oh, thank you, darling." And he says, "Oh, come on, get out the way now. I'm trying to see this match," and completely dismisses the child and doesn't give him a hug, doesn't ask the child to come and sit on the sofa with him. He just tells the child to go away. And that's another example. When a parent says that they love the child, or shows them that they love the child in spoken words, but their actions say something completely different, so their actions show that they don't really care, then the child doesn't know what to feel. The child has cognitive dissonance. You know, they've got these two sort of conflicting beliefs of mommy and daddy told me they love me, but mommy and daddy don't want me near them. Mommy and daddy told me to go away. So the child doesn't know what to think. So that is rule number 4, that the child eventually learns that it's safer to avoid people in relationships. It's safer to not expect anything and not to trust anybody. So this causes very low self-esteem and codependency, and it causes people-pleasing. The child constantly learns that if only I do this for mommy and daddy, only then will I get a bit of attention, only then will I get a little bit of love. And it's a horrible thing. Now, one of the other rules in a narcissistic home is that you are not allowed to feel your feelings as a child. And you're not allowed to express your feelings. And this is very common. A child might, for instance, cry because her bunny died. And her father will be like, "Oh, for goodness sake, what are you crying for? You shouldn't feel like that. It's just a bunny. It's not a big deal. Grow up." And the child is like, what the hell? Like, the child doesn't know what to do with these feelings, and feels like, oh my God, I'm not allowed to be upset now. I'm bad because I'm upset now because my bunny died. I shouldn't be upset. And any display of emotion basically might reveal that the family is weak. And if the parents have this idea in their head that, oh my goodness, no, you shouldn't be upset, and you shouldn't go to school and be sad because your bunny died, and you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that, because it's not good that we talk about our feelings and it's not good that we show our emotions, then the child will end up stuffing down these emotions, and these will then later resurface in the future when the child has become an adult, and this will cause anxiety, this will cause depression. So this is one of also the main reasons why a lot of adult children of dysfunctional families end up having mental illness, because they were always told that they weren't allowed to express their feelings. They were told that it's not okay to be upset, that it's not okay to be angry, that it's not okay to talk about anything. So that's rule number 5. Number 6 is that as a child, you learn that it is okay for people to invade your boundaries, especially the people that love you. And I'm saying that because obviously the parents are the closest people you have in your family, and okay, you might have siblings as well. But if in that family your parents are constantly invading your boundaries, then that's kind of what you know. Number 7 is that you have to be hypervigilant. This is another thing that parents teach a child in a dysfunctional home, that the child always has to be hypervigilant. So the child might constantly be reminded that the world is a dangerous place. They might constantly be reminded that, well, you shouldn't trust that person because they might hurt you. You know, never believe what anybody tells you because they probably want something or they're probably lying. So yeah, for instance, a child might want to go and play with another little boy in a park, and daddy will say, no, don't do that. Don't go play with that little boy. You don't know where that little boy came from. You don't know what his parents is like. Don't do that. It's better that you just stay with us. Or I don't know, it could be something as simple as a child trying to climb a climbing frame that is suitable for his age, and the mom and dad are so scared that they're like, oh no, don't do that. You're going to fall off. You're going to hurt yourself. If that is happening all the time, if that is repeated to a child constantly, then the child just has no confidence. The child doesn't learn how to figure things out for himself or herself. If the parents are constantly sort of making the child scared, like, no, don't do that. Don't speak to him. Don't do that because this is going to happen. And if they're always telling the child, well, no, you can't do it. This is going to happen. Something bad's going to happen. Something bad's going to happen. And that's constantly the message they get. Then the child grows up with no confidence. They have no confidence in their own decisions. They are too scared to do anything. They are too scared to try anything new because they're so afraid that they're going to hurt themselves or that they're going to fail. So they're always living in this protective bubble. The lesson learned is that they always have to be on guard, that they always have to be over-prepared, and they shouldn't trust anybody, and if they do, they might get hurt. And, you know, of course, that isn't a very helpful way to be, is it? You don't want to be this person. You don't want to be very, very scared all the time and have no confidence. Number 8 is that the parents expect the child to constantly be perfect. So rule number 8 is you have to be perfect, otherwise you are not lovable. So if a child, for instance, is doing homework with their father or their mother, and they're having trouble trying to figure out some aspect of that homework, and the parent gets impatient, and the parent starts thinking, oh goodness, my child is stupid, my child doesn't get it. And they start telling the child, but why can't you solve it? You have to solve it. You're not stupid, you're clever. Come on, try and do it. Please do it. And the child is sitting there going, well, okay, I can't figure this out. Like, if you're not able to be perfect, then you must be stupid. You're only lovable if you can solve this problem. And this is really destructive. The child grows up thinking, well, if I don't do this right, I'm not going to be loved. If I can't solve this problem, I'm not going to be liked. The child grows up to be fearful of trying anything new because they're scared that they're going to mess up and that people are going to laugh at them and people are going to criticize them because this is what their parents always did. So yeah, that's number 8. That you have to be perfect, and what you do has to be perfect, and that you have to solve everything, and if you can't, then you're not lovable. So number 9 is a bit similar to number 8, that narcissistic families want their kids to be perfect because they want to look good to the outside world, and they don't want the outside world knowing that, oh well, maybe my child is a bit silly because they can't figure this out. Number 9 is that you're not allowed to make any mistakes. So this is similar to the narcissistic parents expecting the child to always be perfect. If a child is pushed aside, if a child is rejected because they tried to solve a puzzle and they couldn't do it, and the parent was like, oh, for God's sake, why can't you do that? But it's easy. If they make a mistake and the parent just gets really angry at them and makes them feel really worthless and incompetent, the child will then never ever try and do anything new ever again. It will completely destroy their self-esteem and their self-worth. Every time they try and do something, they'll think, oh my goodness, if I do this and I make a mistake, then what am I going to do? How am I going to fix it? How am I going to get them to love me? It stays ingrained in their head. They aren't able to move past that. So that's rule number 9. Children in a dysfunctional home are not allowed to make any mistakes. I think that's it. I hope you found it helpful. I'm sorry if I wasn't connecting so much with the camera, because I was just kind of going through the list of all these rules that I wrote down, and I have them in a Word file just next to the camera here. So I hope it was helpful anyway, and that you can hear me well. And if there's anything that you could resonate with, then please let me know. If there's anything else, any other rules that you can think of that might have affected you in the way that you think about the world because of your upbringing, then please let me know. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. I'm sorry this video is a bit longer than my other videos, but I just hope that people can find some sort of comfort in it, knowing that they're not alone. Please click subscribe if you haven't already. Feel free to leave comments, and if you haven't followed my blog and my Facebook page, then please check them out. They're on the link at the front of my YouTube page. Thanks very much, everybody. Have a good week, and I will see you next Monday.